Ready.
Okay, here we go. All right, good morning. Before I start my bus, I'm going to perform a safe start. I want to make sure that my transmission is in neutral. My parking brake is applied. I want to make sure that there's no debris on my floor here. I want to make sure that the accelerator is not sticking, and I have no more than 1 inch of free play on my clutch. And as I start my vehicle, I'm listening for any unusual noises. First test I'm going to perform is my governor cut out test. Before I do that, I'm going to release some air pressure, pump it down to approximately 90 psi or below. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and increase my RPMs now to approximately 1500. My governor should cut out no higher than 130 psi. Okay, my needles have stopped rising, which means my governor has cut in. My primary is at 119, secondary is at 120. It did not exceed 130 psi. Next test I'm going to perform is my governor cut in test. I'm going to release 5 to 10 pounds of air pressure. I'm going to wait 15 seconds for my governor to cut in. It should cut in no less than 85 psi. Okay, the needles have not moved, so I'll repeat the process. Okay, I'll pump it again. Okay, my needles have started to rise. My primary was at 95, secondary was at 98. It did not drop less than 85 psi. So now I'm going to go ahead and build my air pressure back to maximum. I'm going to go ahead and secure my vehicle by placing the transmission in its lowest gear. I'm going to shut the engine off and release my parking brake. I want to wait for my bus to stabilize and my needles to stabilize. Okay, next test I'm going to perform is my 360 apply test. I'm going to apply moderate pressure to the brake pedal. I'm going to hold it for 60 seconds. I should not lose more than 3 psi in those 60 seconds. Go ahead and apply pressure now. My primary is at 105, secondary is at 110. 60 seconds starts now. Alright, for recording purposes, we're going to say that we're at 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60. My 60 seconds have passed. My primary is still at 105. And my secondary is at 110. I did not lose any air pressure in those 60 seconds. Release my brake pedal. My next test is my low air warning test. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my key in the on position without starting the bus. Okay, I'm going to continue to fan my brake pedal until I hear my low air warning buzzer or light comes on. The low air warning device should come on between 55 and 75 psi. So I'm going to go ahead and start pumping, fanning my brakes. Okay, lower warning buzzer and light has come on. My primary is at 56 psi, secondary is at 60 psi. It came on between 55 and 75 psi. I'm going to go ahead and shut the key off now. Last portion of my test is my Pappaw Test. I'm going to continue to fan the brake pedal until my parking valve pops out. It should pop out between 20 and 45 psi. And on this test, I'm checking my spring brakes. Parking brake has popped out. My primary is at 30 psi. Secondary is at 32 psi. Popped out between 20 and 45 psi. This concludes my Kohler air brakes test. I will now secure my vehicle by placing the transmission back in neutral. And I will start my vehicle now to build my air pressure back to maximum. I'll go ahead and begin my in-cab inspection as soon as my lower warning light turns off. Okay, as I'm building air pressure, I'm going to go ahead and proceed with my in-cab inspection. First, I want to check my windshield to make sure it's always clean. Make sure there's no cracks longer than 2 inches. I want to make sure that there's also no illegal stickers. I want to check the rubber seal, make sure it's not cracked. I want to check for leaks, make sure that there's no water coming into the bus. I also want to check my windshield wipers, make sure they're not bent or cracked. The wiper blades are not cracked or torn, and the wipers must make firm contact with my windshield. I also want to make sure that I have plenty of washer fluid in my vehicle at all times. Okay. I also want to check the mirrors. The rear view mirrors, I want to make sure that they're not cracked. They're adjusted to the driver, they're always clean, and they're securely mounted to my bus. From there, I'll come down to my dashboard here. I want to check my coolant temperature. Coolant temperature should be between 170 and 195 during normal operation, no higher than 210. Oil pressure between 30 and 75 during normal operation. My voltmeter should be between 12 and 14 or in the green. I should always have enough fuel in my bus at all times. My air gauges should never exceed 130 psi. They should never drop below 85 psi. I'm going to check my horn, make sure my horn is working. Check my headlights. Headlights must be working at all times. My high beams, my left turn signal, right indicator, 4-way flashers, in case of an emergency, are working at all times. Check my heater defroster, make sure the heater defroster is working. Check my seatbelt. My seatbelt should not be torn. It should securely latch and it should adjust to the driver. I want to check my emergency equipment. I want to make sure I have 3 reflective triangles. The triangles must have a firm base. The lenses should not be cracked or broken. My fire extinguisher should be fully charged, properly rated, up to date, and securely mounted to the bus. I also want to make sure I have plenty of spare fuses for my bus. In addition to my emergency equipment, I do have 3 flares, emergency flares. In case of an emergency, I have emergency flares. My first aid kit. I I want to make sure that I have enough first aid, enough supplies for all the passengers on my bus. Okay, I want to make sure that the door opens and closes with no obstruction. Make sure the glass is clean, it's not cracked or broken. The door cannot be bent in any way. Okay, I want to make sure that the entryway to my bus is clear of any debris. The handle is securely mounted to the bus. It's not bent or loose. I want to walk to the back of my bus to make sure that all my seats are securely bolted to the floor. Make sure all my windows roll up and roll down. The windows aren't cracked or broken. All my interior lights, I want to check them to make sure they're working at all times. Of course, the aisle is clear of any debris. I want to check my emergency door in the event of an emergency. I'm able to extract all my passengers safe. Okay, this concludes my in-cab inspection. So I'm going to go ahead and perform my tug test. I'm going to place my transmission in the lowest gear. And I'm going to slightly release my clutch, make sure my parking brake is holding. I feel my bus tugging, so the parking brake is holding. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check my service brake now. So I'm going to release my parking brake. I'm going to roll forward at 5 miles an hour. Apply moderate pressure to the brake pedal. Release the steering wheel. If my vehicle pulls to the left or to the right, my brakes could be out of adjustment or a bad suspension. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and head to the outside and begin my exterior inspection of the bus.